Well, Charles, thanks for talking to us on the official website, of course. Your job has now ended in terms of looking for your next permanent manager. After quite a lengthy process, you selected Lee Bell. First of all, why?
Selected Lee Bell, very simply, Greg, because he interviewed and he had all the qualities which outshone everybody else. When we evaluated it, Lee came out on top. It's as simple as that.
You got quite a bit of stick last time around for not opening it up to being an open sort of for candidates to come and apply. You've done that this time. How do you feel your process went?
Well, first of all, I think the stick was probably valid. It's not easy just to appoint, but it looks easy from the outside. So going through the process, we were always going to do that. That was the board were unanimous about going through the process. And the process was pretty rigorous, I have to say, in terms of the last time that we interviewed a lot of people was when we gave a very, very thorough job description, and a lot of people turned up and presented that job description back to us. This time we asked for people who could manage and who understood academy.
Obviously, you looked at all that, and you had that process of 12 people, I think it was, that you put down on a shortlist, and then I suppose you narrowed it down, did you, then, to have the real rigorous interviews from you led and the panel of people from the board?
Yeah, there was 58 people. We got a shortlist of 12, and we did a lot of work on those 12, and then we reduced that down to a list of 4 that we could interview, and they sort of selected themselves, really, because, as I said just a second ago, you've got to have some experience. If we're not going to have experience, then we can add in our own coaches in that sense. So there had to be experience, and there had to be a thorough knowledge of how academies work in academy-based organisations. There's 2 or 3 in the league, and there's people who understand that. So that's what we use as our criteria.
And part of when you put that job description out, it said a manager of an academy-based football club. Tell us a little bit about what you were looking for from those applicants then that were coming in.
I was looking for people who understood how they identify not just the players who come out, who are recruited from outside the organisation, but how they kept an identification on players that were coming through. Because our academy is the starting process of our first team. When we got promoted 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever it was, predominantly that was an academy-based side. So, that's what this football club is. Therefore, obviously you need to be able to manage, you need to be able to manage in the rough and tumble of League Two. But equally, you've got to have one eye towards, what you're doing tomorrow, the day after, next season. And that was very important. And that's, if you like, was what made us ask that very simple question. What do you know about managing, but what do you know about academy-based organisations?
We spoke to Lee, and he quite rightly pointed out
Is he happy?
Yeah, he's really happy, and he's quite rightly pointed out how he feels, what he wants to bring to this football club. I asked him a question, what was the remit from the board to him? And he said, I'd rather you ask the chairman that. I think he should be answering that. And what would have been the remit to Lee and to any other person if there had been anybody else selected? What is that remit you're giving?
Well, interestingly, the remit for the interview was slightly different for Lee. We gave him the same remit. We told him what the remit was for everybody else, to come and present to us how they saw it, and then, take part in more of a debate as to how things might work out over time. And to Lee, we said we probably won't ask you those questions because we know you know the answers. So you've got to think of things besides that as well, which he did extremely well during his presentation, and obviously in terms of his knowledge of the kind of things that we were looking for. Well, they're pretty complete, really. So in terms of the other candidates, it was very much a question of did they understand the way in which our club survived. So what do they know about our business? What do they know about our financial situation? One of them did, a number of them didn't. What that would mean, that our likely budgets, our likely objectives in terms of this season, next season, where they thought this football club could be, both in terms of getting out of this division, surviving in the next, or possibly even getting to the championship. So it was very much, how do you see you, as a potential manager of this football club, taking us forward on the basis of all the things that, if they'd done their homework, they would know about in terms of the finances, the academy, and the culture of the football club.
Whoever is a football manager always goes to the board of directors at times of the season to strengthen their squad, and when they're strengthening their squad they always want that bit more. They're all the same, we all know that, we've all been part of the game for a long time. Is that something that else was discussed in the interview process of recruitment and financing, trying to get new players in?
Well, we left that to the individuals concerned, both in terms of, what do you know about our squad? How much homework have you done? How much homework have you done on the, if you like, the sub-squad, those who are coming from the academy, your Joel Taverners, if you like, and your Charlie Finners, and et cetera, How much do you know about our season so far? How much do you know about our injury situation, for example? How much do you know about what we might need to do during the course of the year? And I have to say that the knowledge was patchy, let's put it like that. Whereas, of course, with Lee, it wasn't. Now, you could say that's a little bit unfair, but equally, if you want the job, then you should be well prepared. And that's what we were looking for, really, both in both situations.
We all know what the modern game's like. Quite a lot of the football fans like instant success. A lot of also Crowley-Zander fans know the business planning and know how it works. It's a time when fans are getting a bit frustrated. What's your message to them?
I'm getting frustrated when I'm sitting in the stands. I heard you commentate, Graham. You can get frustrated as well. Listen, that's what football is, right? I mean, we all get frustrated, particularly when we're not either playing the way or getting the goals that we need. But it's, football's a long game. It's about making sure that we've got all the basics right so that we can get the right results, hopefully in the right timescales. I mean, and I think most of our fans, well, I don't think, I know, I speak to them, we have our fans forums, they understand, but that doesn't stop them getting frustrated. Well, like I said, it doesn't stop me from getting frustrated either. So it's an all-round knowledge. And you talk about what a potential outside manager coming from the outside might know. It's a bit like our fans, what they know. They're not part of the boardroom, they don't understand, but they know and they get it and they understand, which is why they support us.
And of course, what's going on at the moment is you're in that time where it is coming towards January. You have lost key players and have been hit hard with long-term injuries. Can you help, and as you always try to do, support the manager if required?
Well, we'll certainly try, that's for sure. And there's a lot of work going on now. Fortunately, Lee and Alex were involved in that work, starting 6-7 weeks ago with Josh Kennard and his team to try and understand what's available. I mean, signing players in January. If you do the stats, Carl Hancock will tell you, do the stats, and signings in January don't have, they don't rate that highly. But we're doing the work, we'll see what we can do. And also, there's players who haven't played and perhaps they will go out and balance the books and also balance the squads. Because it's not just about the money. You can't have, you can't bring in new players and leave your own players not playing because, for whatever reason. So that's his job. That's his job, is to manage it. It's to manage the squad and it's to manage the board in terms of what he requires, why he requires it and how much he needs to do it.
So the final point then, it's a big opportunity that you're given to your next manager, because they come round few and far between, don't they, football managers' jobs. I know they change a lot, but they're just a steady sort of breed of people that get those jobs.
Well, there is. I'm not a proponent of the merry-go-round of managers, I have to say. At the end of the day, there's only 72 managers in the EFL, and as I said to Lee the other day, there's more bishops than there are managers. There's 100 odd bishops, there's 72 managers. So, and again, if you look at the stats, teams that change their manager often tend not to fare too well. We don't want to change our manager. The Dave Artell, I've gone on record on that in the past, and Alex was beyond our control. Changing managers is not good, unless you absolutely have to, because you're likely to pay the consequences. So, Lee's in post, he understands the team. It was very much about, how you use the team. So other managers were asked, you know, what they knew about our management team, what they know about Kenny Lunt and, you know, all of the backroom staff, because we didn't want to do a David Moyes, you know. We could neither afford to, neither at our football club would we, you know, sweep away the management team and replace them, you know, with a new set that a manager might want to bring in. So all those things were part of the consideration. And that's why Lee was head and shoulders, really.